I'm still standing better than I ever did. Looking like a true survivor. Feeling like a little kid. I'm still standing after all this time. Picking up the pieces of my life without you on my mind. I'm still standing. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Alexa, stop. What's up, folks? Here we are. Ooh, look at that light. Thought I saw hair out of place. Okay, folks. Happy New Year, officially. What is going on? We got to be crazy. We got to look at that light. It is bright. The light is shining bright on all of us, y'all. Okay, here we go. All right, guys. Mistakes. Lessons learned. Lessons learned. Okay, I've got, first of all, Happy New Year. We're going to dive a little personal today. Are we good? How you guys doing? I'm gonna kick it off with a little quote, actually, because we're crazy in this game of working for ourselves, working as entrepreneurs. There's ups. Who would agree? There's ups, there's downs, and then there's more ups, and then there's more downs, and then there's more ups, and then there's more downs, and more downs, and more downs, and more downs. Then there's a big up. Then there's more downs. It's more downs than ups, but I got to tell you, it's like all these little downs, you got to learn from them, right? So should I kick it off with a disclaimer? Maybe I will. There's three things I want to kick it off with. Number one, a quote. Here's to the crazy ones. For those of you who don't know, this is one of my favorite quotes. Keeps me going when things are not going my way. It's right there on my wall, and it's also on my computer because I don't want to screw it up. So who here is a work from home entrepreneur, and who here has just kind of found themselves here? Are you an aspiring entrepreneur? You got to be crazy. You have to be crazy. You really do. So a lot of people may or may not know me. I'm not going to give you guys my story today because this is just a typical Sunday webinar, but it's not so typical. I learned a lot of things. Let's kick it off with this quote because I love it. It's, here's to the crazy ones, the misfits, the rebels, the troublemakers, the round pegs in the square holes, the ones who see things differently. They're not fond of rules, and they have no respect for the status quo. You can quote them, disagree with them, glorify or vilify them, but the one thing you cannot do is ignore them because they change things. They push the human race forward. And while some may see them as the crazy ones, we see genius. Because the people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do. I love it. We crazy, y'all. So here we go. Here's what we're going to start with today. Before I start bitching and complaining about my little failures this year, I need to, I almost punched myself in the face the other day because I'm like, why is this happening to me? Why? Why me? Playing victim, right? To myself. Here's the deal. I'm so freaking grateful for where I am today in such a short period of time of online marketing, personal branding, working in my pajamas, I like to say. So I should not be complaining at all. I am super blessed. We're going to start with that because today, guys, will sound like I'm complaining. It will. But I'm not. I've identified things that no longer suit, I'll try to word this properly, no longer suit the growth of my business and my reach to helping others with what I've learned that can help them. There we go. It's really what I want to do. I want people to be in my situation because there is no ceiling to where I'm going. And I found so many mistakes that I've done over the past year, which will sound like complaining. However, I've learned a lot from these mistakes. So I will kick it off with just the thing I'm the most grateful for that has made all these battles and challenges worthwhile. And by the way, these challenges are challenges I did not see coming. Challenges that did not look like challenges on paper. Challenges that seemed like a good idea at the time. So, yeah, what I'm grateful for, we'll start with that. We'll get that out of the way. We'll get that out of the way. I'm grateful for a ton of things. For me, yes. But I think the thing I'm the most grateful for is that I've created a vehicle to pay you guys money. I'm going to leave it at that. You guys know Branding University. Some of you are getting paid, I don't know, small amounts. Some of you are not quite getting paid yet. You will in 2019. I may explain why that's going to happen as we go through this. Some of my mistakes that I'm fixing will result in more of you getting paid. But I will still say that for one little dude in his money-making dungeon here, able to pay out over 400 people last month. We launched Branding University officially with a free affiliate program in August. So 4 months. Really, that's sick. I've been able to pay hundreds of people. Last month specifically, 400 different people. That will be the thing I am the most grateful for. Hey, listen, so you're not all making $1 million yet. So none of you are making 100 grand yet. I don't know, that may be close. That may be close. 5 figures a month would be 100 grand. So I have to check those numbers. We're going to go on and say some of you are making 4 figures. That could be from 1,000 to 9,000. Many of you are making 3 figures so far, and many of you are just making 2 figures. But what I'm grateful for is that it's a lot of you. Instead of being like 2 or 3 people making all this money, there are many of you making this money in what I believe to be the most important thing, which is personal branding. So by branding yourself, by personally branding yourself and learning about online marketing and helping others with online marketing, personal branding, social media strategies, audience building, all the personal branding stuff, you're making money. That would be the thing I am the most grateful for. That's the thing that I have to punch myself in the face and say, Mark, look at what's happening. You're actually the vehicle for this right here. So I don't know if I would say there's moments where I want to quit. No, there's no moments where I want to quit, but there are moments, as you will see, that frustrate the crap out of me. So, among a ton of things, that's the thing I'm the most grateful for, is being able to be the vehicle for that and 10xing those results in the next year. It's going to happen. I got notes today. So, who would like to know what my biggest lessons learned in 2018 are? Okay, I'm going to give you guys a big disclaimer here. I sometimes say this will not be your regular webinar. This will not be your regular webinar. Why is that? Because a lot of my challenges today are not the same challenges I had in year 1. or year 2 or year 3. This was year 4 in the business. Keep in mind, in year 1, I had 0 audience. Year 2, I had pretty close to 0 audience. So the problems I'm facing today, that you will hear about today, may not apply to you if you are 10 years in the business. You may say, oh yeah, I already know about those challenges. I conquered those a long time ago. I didn't know about them. Or if you're just starting out, I don't want you to, I'm going to let you know as I go through my challenges that I've had, and let you know that if you're just starting out, you're in year 1 or year 2 or even year 3, these won't quite apply to you yet. Fair enough. I got a list. And the other thing is, these are completely related to me. I kind of said that, but I will reiterate that. There are things that I found in myself that may not apply to you in terms of time worked, in terms of what I eat, in terms of how much I move my physical body. All of these things were lessons learned for me. So it may not all be about business, but it is all about business. If I don't eat properly, the right things, I'm not going to go into a whole massive detailed diet, but I had to give you guys the top 12 things that I've learned. There's a lot more. There's like 75 or 76 of them. Noted lessons learned. What I did was I tried to bring up the most important ones for today. Maybe something you may want to consider today. It may be something that you're going to keep in your mind and consider for the future. However, why don't we get started at number 1? These are in no specific order, okay? These 12. I don't know if I should... If I ask you guys to guess, I know what you're going to say. You need to hire more people. You need to hire more. Am I right? Is that what some of you would say? I have some real beliefs on some of the things that I need to change based on my experience. And you may not have had my experience. You may think I'm wrong. We'll see. Okay? I have to go with my gut for a lot of these things based on what I already know in my life, from all of my ventures throughout my life, applied to online, and also what I feel. So it's kind of like, I have to use a bit of imagination. I did a lot of research on these cats. I have to research these cats. That's where I'm going, in case you guys are curious. I'm not already there. That's a vision board, but that's where I'm going. Let's go. Number 1. Take a sip of my soft drink. Okay, this is going to be a real tough one for me. Again, don't know if it applies to you, but it probably will in time. No, maybe not. Maybe not. First of all, I know a lot of people don't want my life. I get that. I don't want you to have my life. I work 16 hours a day, 7 days a week. That's the goal. However, does anybody here work that much? Does anybody here work that much? 16 hours a day, 7 days a week? This is probably why I'm telling you a lot of this may not relate. Some people say, you got to find balance, Mark. You shouldn't work so hard. Well, I'm finding balance this year, and it's balance in my work. Just as another sub-disclaimer, this is what I love to do. This is what I want to do. You don't have to do this. I'm trying to do some crazy, unrealistic things. Therefore, with what I have in here, all the tools I have, I must put in this time. Okay, fair enough? Now here's the thing. 16 hours a day hasn't happened for a long time for me. I've been putting in over 20 hours a day. 2 hours sleep. Sometimes I'd crash on the office couch, get up, and I burnt out. I burnt out this year. I physically burnt out. So, lesson number 1 for me is, it's a tough one for me. but I must limit my days to 16 hours. That's lesson number one. It's a big lesson. I physically burnt out. I fell down in my main area. I thought I was having a heart attack. Some of you may or may not know about this, but had nothing to do with a heart attack. I literally burnt myself out because I got the handle of working 20 hours a day, and I thought I was getting a lot done. I was getting a lot done, but I wasn't getting the adequate sleep. Therefore, my actions were not as efficient. And I was really screwing up my health. Took me a while to recover from that, actually. So for a good 3-month period, I was 18 to 21 hours. No problem. I'm like, I can do this 2-3 hours sleep. I'll get my body used to it. Wrong. Big lesson learned. Call me naive. Call me, are you that stupid? Maybe I was. Maybe I thought I was Superman a little bit. Maybe I thought I was Superman a little bit. But I was getting used to it, and I could maintain that for short periods of time. But over time, no one can do it. I did my research because I didn't want to believe it. Number one, 16 hours a day is pretty well the limit to do awesome work where you're aware of what's going on, or you're efficient, where your brain is efficient. 16 hours is my number one. I call it kind of like a resolution, but I've been forcing myself to stop working at 16 hours a day, and I've been doing better work. I've been much more efficient, been way more creative. My brain works better. So that's number one. Again, I don't know if this helps you, but if you ever get into that zone, many of you are probably saying, I already knew that. I didn't. I thought I could easily do 20, 21 hours, maybe 18. Anything over 16, too much. Number one, lesson learned, and I will stick to that because the work is so much better. There we go. That's number one. We're going to power through this, and this is what I meant a bit. This is all about me. You may take some of these tips. Some of them you may say, oh, that doesn't apply to me. That's fine. This is about me today. It's about me. Seriously, that's a big one. Number two, I'm going to stay quick on this one because this one has such a dramatic effect on my brain. It's more fat, eating more good fats. And I don't think, I'm not going to go into too much detail on this, but I kick off my morning with just some raw almonds or raw walnuts, or just unsalted, unroasted is what I mean, with protein. No carb. I don't do carb. I'm not into the carb thing. I use fat to fuel my body. So when I started substituting my carbs with fats, I'm not going to get all keto on you, but I will tell you that, yes, my skin, all that cured itself. All the wrinkles went away. My joints hurt less. This is not about that. It's about the brain. The more fats I was putting in, 70% fats, avocado, coconut oil, almonds, seeds, the good fats. We'll leave it at that. I need to maintain my good fats. I need to snack on my good fats throughout the day. And it's literally like putting some kind of miracle grow in my brain. So I measure them now and I make sure I have them every 3 hours. I have some fats. There we go. Lesson learned number two. You guys are like, when's the marketing stuff coming on? We're going to have it right here. Number three. Because those are two things. Just those two things are going to fuel the machine in ways that can be productive and efficient and creative. I'm always solving problems, always. And also with anxiety, with stress, those two first things. And I'm going to go with movement too. You got to move. I got to move more often because these top three are going to be kind of health related, but now we're going to jump into some strategies. Yeah, there are strategies. More marketing side and business side. However, I think those are all crucial. Moving. If I got to get up out of my chair, do 20 jumping jacks, I won't do them because I got the tripwire. I like doing squats. I like doing it where my heart rate rises. Just starts pumping up. I hear my heart rate going. 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Maybe 10 times a day. So yes, I do timer it Fitbit wise. So I do timer it. I get my girl here. You guys know my girl. Alexa, set timer for 5 seconds.
5 seconds, starting now.
Alexa, stop. I use her to every 3 hours, it's time to move. I use her for that. She's phenomenal. Best girlfriend ever. So I just get up out of my chair. I'll walk around. I'll jog on the spot. There. That was enough time on those 3 things. But if I don't use her, she's the best. If I don't use her to do this, I get into programming mode. I get into whatever mode, working mode, and I forget these things. And I'm not twice as productive. I'm like 10 times more productive because the quality of my work is at a whole other level. Boom! 3 lessons learned that have nothing to do with marketing, but they kind of do. One more sip of soda. Don't ask. It's not alcohol if that's what you're asking. I can't lie to you guys. I'm tapering off the rock star since we're on the health thing. It's hard. It's hard. I'm going to go back to the tea. I say that all the time. Let the hate come in. Okay, number 3. I have many income streams, and I found this one to be personal branding. Well, here we go. Content, always create content, always syndicate, and always capture. Always create content, always syndicate your content, and always capture new audience members. What's going to happen is you're going to get tied up and consumed by certain projects, and you're going to, well, I'm not saying you, I would put on pause my content creation at times, my content syndication. I'm going to show you guys exactly what I mean. I'll just do a quick screen share. And capturing new audience members. This can never, ever, 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 ever stop. No matter what. That's something, every time I put it down and I took breaks on creating content, it was almost like starting over all the time a little bit. I do get to a certain level, but I always need to capture new audience members. And I'm going to just give you guys a little tip on the easiest way to do this, where if you schedule it, 1 piece of content per week is fine, but you need to always be syndicating it. The way we syndicate it and capture it, you do it once a week. And I miss many weeks at a time. So the way we do it is we create a piece of content, we add it to our Twitter lead machine. Twitter is the easiest way. If you guys want to know how I do it on Twitter, I'll show you what I mean by always syndicating my content so that even when I'm sleeping, new eyeballs are seeing me and coming into my audience all the time, full time. That's a lesson learned. That's something I've been neglecting on. And that got me to where I am today, and that's what will continue to push me forward, is new audience members all the time. If I get consumed with a project, I must still, always, no matter what, get my content. I roll it off on a Monday morning. I'm good until the next Monday morning. You guys want to see how I do that real quick? Would you guys like to see how I do that real quick? So that creating a piece of content is a piece of cake. I'm creating one now with this webinar, but I'm talking just creating a piece of content, adding it to your content library, pushing a button, and then having it roll out all week long so that every day you have new eyeballs in your audience that you could retarget to. Was that kind of like said properly? Yeah, I'm going to show you guys real quick. Let me just screen share real quick. Okay, so here's my one of my Twitter accounts. There we go. This is happening all the time. Oh, probably not the tweet you guys wanted to see, but it's okay. Here we go. So right here is just the ratios of content going out on a regular basis. All I need to do is take 2 hours every Monday start up this machine. If you guys want to know how this is done, you can just go to Branding YOUniversity and get Twitter 1.0. It's a free course. And because this is running all the time, as you can see, I have it on multiple accounts. I'll just show you really quick. So for me, I'm scaling this process. But when I don't do this, not only do I not get leads, well, yeah, I don't get leads, and I don't get to retarget new people all the time. And when you're getting a certain amount of leads, you get into this mindset that I'm doing just fine. I'm doing okay. I'm doing just fine. I can never fall in that trap. I must always be growing. So guys, that's how it looks. This is the basis of it. And this is something that I must always be doing. And this will apply to you as well. This is something you should definitely start working on, is your content library. And again, not again, for those of you who are not aware of what I'm doing here, branding yourself is the key to everything. You do not want to mention a product or a service or a company in your personal brand. A lot of people, well, I know a lot of people will disagree, but you're wrong. I'm sorry, not sorry. I've gone through many income streams over the past couple of years, and some have worked out, some have not. I've made the mistake of tying my name publicly, tying my brand publicly to a product. The product, you're always going to have new income streams. And if you're not taking care of your personal brand, you can find yourself in some pretty tough spots. So when you build your personal brand, people recommend other people to you. Connectors connect you. Your audience grows. You get a name as someone helping people in your niche. My niche is small business entrepreneurs. So there we go. I definitely spent a lot of time on that because that one applies to you as well. That's something I have been slipping on. Let me come back. Okay. Hello. So those of you asking what kind of content, that is all in Twitter one. Twitter is free. Twitter is still my go-to method to generate. The amount of leads I generate is more and more every day. So when it was 100 leads a day, then it went to 200 leads a day. Then it went to 500. Then it went to 1,000. Then now it's not going to continuously be 1,000 if I continue to do this. Does that make sense? Do I care if I get 10,000 leads a day? Of course I do. Whoops. Of course I do. Of course I don't want to. If people are saying you should be happy at 1,000, 2,000 leads a day, I'm happy no matter what. But why would I stop this in 2 hours, a 2-hour reset every Monday morning? That'll be Twitter lead machine. Won't get into it. Twitter one is the best way you can start this thing. It's quite long, but it's worth it. Once you set it all up, I don't know if anyone's using Twitter. Oh, welcome. I don't know if I should say some names. Yes, I have some auto recruiting machines going on. We have a new person on our team. Welcome, Donna. How are you? Welcome to the team. I'll leave it at that. You just come in. But I know who Donna is. If that's the Donna I know, welcome. I'm excited to have you on the exec team. Stop, Mark. Okay, so why does that happen? People have followed my brand and eventually join you in whatever it is you're doing. That's the point of a personal brand. So Mark, no more breaks on that. No matter what, I will continue to spit out content. Big lesson learned. Big lesson learned. I could easily be generating 5,000 leads a day right now. Why does it matter? Because they go in my custom audience. They go in my custom audience. The bigger, how many audience members do you think these guys have? It's not 200,000 like me, or I think 250,000. It's millions. I don't have all, you guys get it. Continuously doing the same thing will grow. Therefore, no more breaks. Next one. Here we go. This one will be a little controversial. I used to suffer from what's called Superman syndrome. I like to do things myself. Take another sip of pop. Superman syndrome means you don't want to hire anyone. You want to do everything yourself so that it's done right. I'm not talking about network marketing. I'm talking about what are my daily activities? I've got a lot of stuff going on. A lot. Which is good. I got multiple income streams. And one of my big faults, as I've discovered, is not wanting to hire anyone, thinking I could do everything myself. So I need to hire some people. Now I'm going to tell you how I roll. Okay? Because a lot of people are like, well, hire me, hire me, hire me. Here's the thing. Whether this is right or wrong, it's right to me because this is what I believe. I will not hire anyone unless I know how to do it first. Yeah. So I have to be able to do it first. And then once I know how to do it, then here's what I plan on hiring this year. I've already looked into it. I already got 2 people about to start. I hire cogs. You may like it, you may not like it. I hire cogs that have a user manual on the things that I can already do. Does that make sense? This is how I'm hiring. This is how I hire people. I don't hire anyone creatively at the moment. I don't think, hey, I got to take my time. I'm hard-headed. I like to think I could create everything, and I will still continue to be the source of the creation in a lot of the things I do, but I will hire people to do things that I can already do and that I've created a user manual for and that are not in this business. I will. Now that doesn't mean if people step up as leaders in the university, that's not what I mean by hiring people. I need people to do the mundane tasks, so that I could be liberated a little more to do the creative tasks and the programming. Not hiring programmers. I can't hire programmers. I tried it. Doesn't work. I don't want to get into this, but explaining to people what my vision is takes more time than having them help me out with it. My vision is so out there that some people are like, who do you think you are? And then the negativity comes out. If I would have told people I'm not paying a single check 4 months ago and I want to pay 400 different people in 4 months, they've been like, how the heck? You don't even have a payroll set up. I'm like, I know. Well, how are you going to do that? Well, I have some ideas. And for me to share with them the ideas of how I'm programmatically going to do it would take too much time. So with that being said, I don't know, I don't know if this is helping you guys out, but it feels good for me to get it out, and it may help some of you guys in the future. When I hire someone to do something to help me out, and I don't know how to do it myself, I don't want to get ripped off. I want to know what they're doing. I want them to do the mundane tasks so I can do the creative ones. So that's a big lesson I've learned. I will be hiring people. That's a very big step for me. That will make me more free to do the creative stuff. And again, I'm hiring cogs. Cogs are basically people that are like, I can be bossy with. Yeah, I mean, I was in business for a long time, guys, in entrepreneurial stuff. I don't have to be nice to. Doesn't mean I'll be mean, but if they don't do the job properly, I just replace them. I know how to do that as well. Put them on short-term contracts. So by doing that with people who are not in the field, I don't have to, people that are in the field with me, there's relationships. People that I work with, there's not really relationships. I hope that doesn't sound mean, but it will benefit everyone that I work with because all the mundane tasks will be taken care of. There we go. That's a huge lesson learned for me. That's going to open up my world, and it's going to help so many of you. Like with what I want to develop that I haven't been able to because of the mundane tasks, my reciprocation on Twitter, for example, my support, the support I need to supply, the support I need to provide, so on and so forth. Okay, here's a really good one. It's a really, 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 really good one. I used judge others for yourself. That's what I put down. Judge other people for yourself. Be a grown-up, and you decide what you want to think about somebody new. In this game in any game, in life, people are going to try to put down other people for all kinds of reasons. All kinds of reasons. And you know what? Maybe their reasons are valid. Mark, look out for this person. I wouldn't work with this person. Or people say that about me all the time. All the time. So I get that a lot. Mark, look out for this person. Mark, you know, I heard this and I heard that and this happened and that happened. I don't care. I really don't. Thank you for the tip. Thank you for that. Thank you for the heads up. If I feel it's a threat, I don't know, man. I don't know, man. I like to judge for myself. I really do. Because I would have missed out on some pretty fantastic people if I would have listened to other people's opinions on other people. I would have. And the truth of the matter is, I know I've said this before, but I know people are looking out for you. And I don't want to say let anybody into your circle, but what I will say is you should do your own due diligence if you feel it's necessary. Sometimes there is no way to do the due diligence. Sometimes you kind of have to go with your gut. It's people are you take chances on people all the time. And we also have the I'm going to get into the option of working with who you want to work with in a sec here, but that's a big one I've learned. I listened too much to other people's opinions about other people, and I missed out a lot of times. I caught on with some people late, and I'm like, well, these people, a lot of people were contacting me about you. Can't say any names, but that's why I didn't really want to communicate with you. And then I'm like, Mark, what are you, a kid? So that's a big lesson learned for me. I've been a little more open-minded to people I had a good feeling about, and life is fantastic. Business is growing, I'll tell you that much. Hooking up with the right people that I feel are right to work with. And also, maybe some people are fit for you and they're not fit for others. And there could be so many reasons to why other people don't like other people. I should probably leave it at that to be safe, because I don't get into that stuff. I keep that stuff to myself, and I do work with who I want to work with. Fair enough? That's another big lesson. So, and another thing. And another thing. I try so hard not to badmouth anyone. Not badmouth or say, be careful about that person. Have you guys ever heard me say that about someone? Including other companies I've been with. Well, yeah, I'm pretty good. Well, I'm getting better. It doesn't serve you if you do that at all. If you badmouth someone, or if you say stay away from that person, or if you say stay away from that company, or if you say I'm just warning you, Here's the thing. If they're saying that about someone else to you, what do you think they're saying about you when you're not in the room? Red flag, maybe? Maybe? Being very careful today. That's something I've learned. I'm going to judge for myself whether I want to connect with people or not. Heck, I get people badmouth a lot of these people. I wouldn't follow Gary Vee, he swears too much. Thank you for your opinion. Let's move forward. Next one. Okay, this is a big one for me. I will continue to grind. I will continue to go into the trenches for a certain amount of time. Here's the thing. Who believes in leading by example? I don't need to do cold calls. I don't need to prospect people one-on-one. Not anymore. Am I bragging? Heck no. I've worked my butt off to get here. I've worked my butt off to get to the point where I could just open my inbox, pick out some leads and call them. I don't need to constantly prospect. But I'm dedicating a certain amount of time. I'm going to continue to do this. This one I've been laying back off a bit, but now that I'm getting into new ventures, I think it's crucial for me to continue to do some of the things that I had to do in the beginning for the reason of leading by example. I really think it's super important. I'm going to give you guys a couple of examples of people who, should I give some names? I got some names here. Okay, here's a couple of things. Number one, it helps you lead by example. If I tell my team to contact everybody they know, if I tell my team, here's the script, let's start doing cold calls on Saturday. Let's do cold call Saturday. If I'm not doing them with them, what, am I going to stand on my soapbox and say, okay, read this script? No way, I'm doing them. I'm going to outwork anyone on my team. If some people on my team are doing 10 cold calls, well, then I'll do 20. Got to do that as a leader. I stand by that firmly. Number one, that's one good reason. Number two is sometimes I got to be super careful here. I got to be super careful. Sometimes you got to inject some people in whatever it is you're doing. And sometimes you being the leader, because it means I got to be super careful. Sometimes I got to roll my elbows up if I want to inject some money into the business. Sometimes I have to get on the phone. I got to take 2 days and just go on a recruiting blitz by myself just to inject a bunch of new people in to see who of those are going to pop out. It's not that others can't do it. Is that just sometimes, I don't know. I'm just going to speak for myself. I'm pretty carefree. I don't really care much about other people's opinions. And I will do 50 cold calls in a day. So I will do those kinds of things and prospect everybody I know if I have to lead by example and also to fund my operation again. If I go on a blitz for a week and I say I'm going to take a week just to personally recruit. Yes, I got funnels, I got all that stuff, but I mean nothing. When you put in some good old-fashioned elbow grease in there, you're injecting the right leaders in because you're contacting the right leaders and you're going hardcore. So I'll do that. I gotta say a name. Tom Alkazan. Is that his name? He used to work with Vima. The Alkazans. Alkazans? Does anyone know them? That's stuck with me. He said he always goes out there and recruits whenever his team or his business would start, stabilizing or shrinking a little bit, no problem. All he did was he rolled up his sleeves and he went to work, brought in a few hundred people, and then let it sit a bit and see who would pop and who would pop. So was he doing it to lead by example? For sure. But his main reason was because he's like, okay, well, we're kind of stabilized. I got to get to work here. So it's kind of like that's always going to be part of my routine. And I cannot let that slip. I must always contact people all the time. Yes, including cold calls to some pretty significant people. I'm also going to talk about Brian Crothers. Hey, Brian, what's up? What's up, Brian? You watching? Brian Crothers, 8-figure earner. You go to an event, you see Brian Crothers. He's still in the corner on his smartphone prospecting people all the time. Always prospecting. So that is something that I will continue to do and do more regularly. I'm going to schedule it, being in the trenches. Does this apply to you? This should all probably apply to you. My businesses work so much better overall when I stay in the trenches with my team. Okay, next. Use technology to answer questions. Ooh, I don't know if this will be a popular one either, but it should be. Support, 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 support. Are you an entrepreneur? Are you an acquisition master? Or are you a support clerk? When you're always supporting, should you not support? No. Should you almost not support? Yeah. If you have to constantly support and answer questions, there's something broken in your system. So instead of answering, well, here's what I put. Use technology to answer questions. I got this one from Ray Higdon, actually, a long time ago, and I haven't been implementing it. So you're always going to get questions as you move forward in any business. New ones are going to pop up, whether it's from, I don't know where to get started, or what page do I go to, or where do I find this video, so on and so forth. Your options are, number one, answering all these questions and spending your time in support mode and not acquiring any new customers or clients. That's option one. Number two, which is Grant Cardone. I don't know if I'd go quite that intense. Grant Cardone doesn't really do support. He just does acquisition, and he takes the support questions as an opportunity to fix his product where it's broken. So if he has a bunch of support questions on this, he'll say, well, it looks, if there's a support question like, how do I get started? Where's the startup? How do I start? Well, then in his next product version, he makes sure that is clear. So then with all the support questions coming, so he basically ignores support for the most part. I wouldn't do that. Now here's what I'm implementing this year. Lesson learned. I am creating as many videos for support as possible on an FAQ page. Another team member. Love these auto recruiting machines. Okay, stay on track. Mark, you have got to create a system that's either an FAQ page. I like the FAQ page. So if you can point, guide, and direct people on an automatic basis to a page that answers the most common questions, and every time there's a question that someone asks that keeps popping up that that's not in the FAQ, you add it. Ray Higdon did this magnificently. He used to create videos. I don't know, I haven't been following him lately, but 3 years ago, he used to create videos and just point people to those specific videos. In my case, I see it more like an FAQ page, which is all the questions, common questions at the top, and you click them and it goes to a video. So then you answer the question once, and if you have it on an automated process, like a lot of big companies do, we can do this for ourselves too, individually. You guide them to kind of like an FAQ page. That's a huge lesson learned. If I have to think back to the times of the same questions I get and I have to answer, in a week I could get 10 of the same questions asked, and I answer them as quickly as I can, and I miss a bunch of them when I could just have an autoresponder set up as a robot that just goes, whenever it goes to a support page, and ask them to go see the FAQs. Okay? That's another massive, massive lesson learned. Use technology to answer questions. I have not been doing that enough. That's going to liberate a ton of my time. Okay. This one's a big one. The next one's a big one, and it may not apply to you, okay? As a matter of fact, it probably will not apply to you unless you're at that next level. I want to get to that next level at this point in my career. One-on-ones. You guys know one-on-ones? One-on-ones are simple. You spend time with one person. Right now, am I spending time with one person? I'm not. I'm spending time with a lot of people. By the time this gets syndicated, by the time this goes in the replays, not only will 25,000 people see it on all platforms through our syndication process and our replays, this will get seen the most on it'll take about till Wednesday, because right now we're Sunday. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, before a vast majority of like 50,000, 60,000 students now see the replay, on top of everywhere it trickles out on social media. And then it lives in the training vault, lives in the webinar replays. So this 1 hour I'm taking with you guys today is 1 hour of my time, but it's not one-on-one. Does that make sense? One-on-ones are good, I'm going to say, until you're at the point of, until you're at that next level. Until you're at the next level. I think one-on-ones are absolutely necessary if you're not making a couple $100,000 a year. Absolutely necessary. Does that mean I think one-on-ones do not serve me anymore? I think at this point, for where I want to go, my hour with someone or my 2 hours with someone, depending, but they have to go. They have to go. I made that mistake a lot with a lot of one-on-ones, but keep in mind, one-on-ones have served me. One-on-ones have made me. They have made me. This is why I'm saying, depends on where you are and where you want to go. And not at the beginning. You have to do one-on-ones at the beginning. They're going to make you. But if you're ready to make that next jump, they're going to kill you. They could break you. They can make you or they could break you. One-on-ones today are the most expensive thing I can do. I did not realize this. Well, let me tell you, this is where I was wrong. I thought one-on-ones, the more I can do, the more people I can help. It's not the way it works. Not for me. The less one-on-ones I do, the more people I can help. Let me try to explain really quickly. If I spend 2 hours with someone, one person, I may or may not be able to help them. You can't help everybody. Don't even try. Don't even think you can. Maybe they won't relate with you. Maybe you won't connect with them. Maybe you're trying to help them with something they don't understand yet. Maybe just getting to know someone is a big deal. Like to see where they're at, their personality. There's so many factors in doing one-on-ones. However, in the beginning, you have to do that. But 2 hours with one person or 2 hours for me to organize a webinar that I can syndicate to tens of thousands, where's my time better used? Even if I was selling, I used to sell one-on-one all the time. If I'm selling to one person, 2 hours to sell to them, or create a webinar that sells, syndicate it to thousands of people, how many things am I going to sell? So I just recently discovered this one, actually. I still thought one-on-ones had a place for me, even at this level. I'm not saying I'm at a super high level, but when I attach a dollar figure and the number of people I can help figure, it's devastating to my business and a bunch of other people's businesses. I felt like a trooper this year. I want to try to help a bunch of people one-on-one because I thought it would serve a lot of people. I was wrong. I was wrong. By doing that, it's hit or miss, depending on so many factors. And there are so many things that I could have rolled out in the university that would have served the masses, that it was a screw up. A lesson learned. A lesson learned. So if people are saying, does that mean you're going to be inaccessible now? Yes. Oh, they're coming to get me. I shouldn't have said that. Does it mean I'm going to be inaccessible? There comes a point where you become inaccessible. And that's not me only. That's everybody. Do you think you could contact these guys and talk to them? And do you think it's because they're conceited and they're like, my time's too precious? Well, I don't know about them. But for me, it's because the time could be better used to serve more people, change more lives, and make more money for y'all. Does that make sense? This is a recent one for me. Yeah, they're coming to get me. I shouldn't have said that. So there we go. I said it. I said it. And again, I must reiterate, in the beginning, one-on-ones are necessary. They absolutely are. Without the use of technology, I won't get into technology for that purpose. I'm just saying your time, the more you learn, yeah, the better you get at this business, your time becomes by far your most valuable asset. By far. You're going to have to be very careful with who you spend your time with, because it will cripple your growth. That's maybe longer term for you guys. Maybe some of you who have been, maybe I have some 7-figure earners on here. You know what I'm saying. I know you know what I'm saying. I know you know what I'm saying. I know you know what I'm saying. Okay, big lesson learned. Oh, here's a really big one. Let me take another sip. I'm going to keep this thing under an hour. This next one has to do with my own time, getting more time for myself, because when I say get more time for myself, it's not more time for myself to go on the beach or more time to spend with my kids or spend with my girlfriend. They don't get more time because they don't exist. They're not what I need more time for. What I need more time for is for business growing activities. And here we go. This brings me to this point. And this has been helping a lot. And I can't believe it took me this long to connect the dots. Personal development, folks, learning new things. It's an ever-changing world. There's always new stuff going on. Technically, even sales, even automated webinars. There are so many things to learn to building an 8-figure business, that, and even beyond that, like just books, like, I don't know. When was the last time you guys read this book? Pick it up again. The Accidental Billionaires, the founding of Facebook. It's always a good read. Any books, any books by any billionaire autobiographies or billionaire stories, any kind of technical studying, any kind of personal development. Every time I went into university mode, who's been to university? You don't go to university 2 or 3 hours a day. You put in at least 6 hours of studying a day. Depends on what you took in university. But when I slowly bring back my university mindset. That means Facebook off, social media off. Okay, Mark, it's class right now. It's class. The more of that I do, leaps and bounds, folks. Leaps and bounds to serve you, to serve me, to serve everybody. The more learning I do. So I'm increasing my personal development time. I gotta pick my nose. Excuse me. There we go. How classy is that? I'm increasing in 2019 my personal development time, which is reading books, taking courses, implementing new technology that I learn, and coding and working and studying, taking notes, university mode. I'm increasing it from 3 hours a day. I was at 2 hours mandatory a day, which is the only reason I'm anywhere today, for the record. Take that away. Take away those 2 hours a day. Forget it. I'm not even close to being here. It's impossible. Impossible. Hard work's one thing, but you got to learn. Learning's more important. Don't be stuck in student mode, but student mode is still the most important thing to me. So, going from 3 hours a day to 6 hours a day mandatory. 6. People, 6 hours a day, every single day, yes. Your brain's going to take it all. Whatever it doesn't take, you'll put it down in notes. For those of you who have been to university, you know how it works. You're in school. So this is what's going to separate me, really bring me up to those levels. It really is. So there we go. I said it. Now, I mean, we're almost near the hour. I don't know if this served you guys so far, but it served me. It's changing my entire 2019. My 2019 will not look like my 2018. It'll be day and night. I will double my income. I will double my income, and I will, in a year from today, I would not be surprised if I'm paying out over 1,000. I have absolutely no doubt. I have absolutely no doubt. Because of these changes, I will be paying out over 1,000 different people every single month by 2020. I said it here. I'm going to do that. Will happen, and I will double, more than double my current income, which is multiple 7 right now. I said it. I'm not going to repeat that. I'm a 7-figure earner. I'll be more of that. I won't be 8 figures in a year, but who knows? So 6 hours personal development. Next lesson learned. I've matched it up. I've seen what it does. Okay? I'm going to leave you guys with one last one. And this is one here that I'm reluctant to share, but because it's got a caveat to it. It's got a condition. I say, don't always take on more than you can chew. What are you guys going to say now? Oh yeah, Mark always takes on more than he can chew, right? Who thinks I take on more than I can chew? Yes, I do. So let me rephrase that. Don't always take on more than you can chew. Don't always. It's okay to sometimes take on more than you can chew. It's okay. It's what makes you grow, yo. You got to. You can't just always say, oh, I can only handle that. You got to push yourself a little bit more every time. Whether it's from making the videos I've been making lately to, I don't know how to get music in there. I don't know how to get the captions. I don't know how to superimpose images. How am I going to get that done in a week? I don't even know how to do that. Well, guess what? That's taking on more than I could chew, so I just better chew faster. So, don't always take on more than you can chew. I'll give you guys 3 examples. Branding YOUniversity is a company I have. It's a company that I started. It's an online educational platform. You're on the webinar, yo. This is a Sunday webinar for Branding YOUniversity. When I envisioned that, I said, holy shit, Mark, you got to create this. You got to create that. How are you going to pay out affiliates? How do you even get affiliates hooked up? How do you set free affiliates? How are you going to manage that? You're by yourself here, bud. How are you going to, how on earth are you going to build that system technically? You can't even do graphics. You can't do any, forget the graphics. What about the database? How on earth is that even possible? Is that taking on more than I could chew? You're damn right it is. I was like, before it was Branding YOUniversity, it was called GOMA, Global Online Marketing Academy or something. Anyways, as I had it in my head like 3 years ago, I said, that's not even gonna, with what it's doing right now, with me paying out 400 people and it having a system that's going to be in 2019 able to host platinum partner blogs that are 100% customizable, not even affiliate, 100% customizable with a back office interface that looks like those old people phones. No offense to old people, you know, the big digit numbers. No WordPress, like super updatable, blah, blah, blah. A full blog that's completely customizable in 2019, to also have automated webinars built in, to have free affiliates that could sign up, share courses, get paid through PayPal at the end of every month. That whole system was more than I can chew. Are you kidding? Of course it was. But I took it on. Was it more than I could chew? Yes. Did it pay off? Yes. Will it pay off? Yes. So when I say don't take on more than you can chew, that's not what I said. I said don't always take on more than you can chew. Another thing is Sunday webinars. That's way more than I can chew. How can I possibly, with everything I got going on, come up with a new idea for a Sunday webinar, get the capture pages set up, get the subject matter set up, do the webinar? I'm not saying I'm Superman, but I'm saying I'm not saying you got to have a bit of Superman syndrome in you, because just that was way more than I could chew every single Sunday. God, I used to prepare for a webinar in the beginning. It used to take me a month to get the outline set up, another month to get some kind of like invitation process, then doing it. So in other words, way over a month to just get one webinar set up without even doing it. That's without even doing it and having people in the chat like this. So to come up with one every single Sunday, all the time, brand new, that I don't even know what I'm going to talk about next, that was more than I can chew. Was it worth it? Yes, of course it was worth it. So these are two things that I'm biting off more than I can chew. I just bite faster. Okay, here's an example of something that I did more than I could chew that wasn't worth it. I decided to hook up and coach some people this year. Started with 12, and because I have that whole mentality, I can bite off anything, I'm Superman, I want to do it to 63 people. Because of what I discussed earlier, that one-on-one was not beneficial to the masses, there's an example of don't always take on more than you can chew. Would it have served me to do less people or none at all? In this case, it would have served me to do less people, not none at all. Now, none at all. Why would it have served me to do a little less? Because I learned a lot about people in this journey. I learned a lot about people in this journey. I'm glad I did it, but I didn't need to do it to 63. So don't always bite more than you can chew. Evaluate and analyze it first. Those are probably the dozen lessons learned that are going to completely change my business, my income in 2019, your business, yes, because I'm building tools for you guys in Branding University, and your income in 2019. So guys, look at that. 1 hour, 7 minutes, 1 hour, 8 minutes. This is what this one was about. Now, if you guys got anything out of that, this is one of the times where you may have, you may not have. But I really like a lot hearing about his problems. Gary V talks about them all the time. The shit he's got to go through. And I'm like, I don't have to go through that yet. But because he said it, and I got it here, it's a good red flag for me in the future. Same with Ty Lopez, man. Grant Cardone too. These guys, Jordan Belfort. I learned so much of these guys' lessons learned that Warren Buffett, Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, their lessons learned are nowhere. I'll never have to face, well, not in the near future, I won't have to face them, but I still get from that. So when I go through issues, I'm like, I remember what Gary V did in that situation, and I'm approaching that situation. So that's my hope for you today. My hope for you today is that you get something out of this that may help you. But I'm really going to go back to the content. I'm not going to go back to it. I want to end. It's 108. I want to kill this now. But to always create content, always syndicate content, and always capture into your audience with a capturing pixel. That's probably one of the ones that will mostly apply to you. Yeah. The other ones, I mean, I don't know what level you're at. And again, this is according to me. And it's going to completely change my life. Again, lives never keep getting changed. And it'll get rid of my my anxiety and my stress. It will. It won't get rid of it. It'll diminish it. So guys, there we go. It was a little different today. I got 1 hour in, and I'm going to have fun myself. All about me, right? I'm going to have fun looking back at this a year from today and seeing how, I was going to say if I've implemented these changes, but seeing how these implemented changes will affect my business in the year. And next January 2020, I may refer to this webinar and say, I remember last year when they said I would change this, and I would be paying out 1,000 people. That's really one of my main goals, is to liberate my time to pay out more people. Because I started this webinar by saying I'm extremely grateful I paid out 400 of you last month. That's kind of like the thing I want to increase. So how cool would it be if in 1 year from today I'm paying out over 1,000 of you all every month, and residually, and I got a couple of hundred granders in the system, which I will, I have no doubt. And it's all because of these lessons learned. So guys, I'm going to say, have an awesome, awesome Sunday. I'm going to cut it off at 1 hour, 10 minutes. Not too bad. It was a ramble fest, but hey, I'm really happy I put it out there. I'll be able to look back on this, and I hope it helps some of you. Have an awesome Sunday, and I'll see you guys on social media. Bye-bye now.